to another PC Sports Cards live Q&A. This is Josh with PC Sports Cards. I think Zach's going to be joining us today, so we're going to wait a little bit to see if he comes in. Might get started before he gets there. I guess a lot of people are coming in right now. For those that are watching this after the fact on either YouTube or on Instagram, we do a weekly Q&A every single week, talk about what's going on in the hobby, answer questions that you guys have. Do it every week, 2 o'clock Eastern, unless something happens that we can't do it. So if you have any questions and you're here, make sure you put the questions in a little question circle. Guys, please only put questions in there. Don't put comments in there. I will try to get to any comments that I see out in the comments section, but putting the comments in there just makes it a little bit harder and takes a little bit longer for us to get to it. So hope everybody had a good week, had a good weekend. My niece came home from camp, so that was really cool. Again, we have a few questions that people put in there already, so if you have any questions, feel free to start adding them. We got about a half hour, 45 minutes today. If we go that long, normally we go that long. It looks like Zach just jumped in, so I'm sure he's going to be requesting to join soon, and then you'll have both of our beautiful faces here. I hit accept twice and didn't go through. There you go. What's up, Zach?
I have to switch rooms. Someone's squealing.
Sarah.
Right, Eli? Right?
Sarah. So, all right. So,
there he is.
I feel like we talked about this. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you just put them in that question mark down below. Don't put them in here. So without further ado, while Zach's changing rooms, we're going to get started with the questions that we have logged in there. First person was a Cooper Cup super collector. Asked us how many Cooper Cups we have stashed away. Guys, we don't have any Cooper Cup, but when we have those kinds of stashes, those super high-end cards like that, we have some, but a lot of those are consignment cards, and those cups were all consignment cards. So I don't think we have any left. Next question that we have that was in the stories already from yesterday is, what's better, selling a high pop card in the offseason or waiting for the season to start? Very good question. We get this question a lot, actually. In reality, unless the player is going to have all-time great season and is going to compete for MVP and their team's going to compete for a championship, it's usually better to sell your cards the month leading into the season instead of in the season. You're selling the hype instead of selling the performance. So, Zach, the question that I'm answering now is,
I heard the question. Did people hear Eli or no?
Yeah, of course.
Even when I think,
is it better to sell a high pop card in the offseason or wait until the season starts? Your camera's
100%
really
before. Is it just the sun or something? Maybe if I put it the other way. Is that better?
Yeah.
I would sell. Well, Josh, you want to take it or?
I mean, I answered already, so let's see if you're not hearing me.
I would sell right away.
Before the season, right?
Yeah. I mean, like if it's a football card, I would sell right now.
Yeah. Best time to sell is right now for football, especially quarterbacks. Look what happened to Zach Wilson last week, right? He might escape with only being down 4 to 6 weeks, but that could be a season-ending injury that'll kill the prices of his cards.
Especially high pop, because like I would say if you think of it as like a numbers game, like the percentage it's going to drop is probably maybe 30%, no matter what, for most players across the board. And then probably 10% of players will pick up 10, 20%. So there's no value add, really. Like, say you have a Prism Josh Allen, it's $700 right now. It might jump to $750, but it's more likely to drop to $600 by a lot.
Or $500. You have to have the MVP player on the championship team. All right, next question. What do you think of Francisco Alvarez for the Mets? Good time to sell or hold? You're the prospector here, Zach, not me. So what do you think?
Am I really the prospector here?
Out of us?
Or do we not have one anymore?
Bennett.
I think he's close to number one on the – is he number one overall? I think he might be number one. I would sell relatively soon. I mean, so there was this period. I was thinking about this actually 2 days ago randomly. I know. We're like Acuna hit, Soto hit, Vlad hit, Tatis hit, Bellinger hit, Judge hit. All these guys came up.
Ahmed Rosario did not hit. What's up, Bill?
Yeah, but like all these guys hit, and like always the move was sell right before they get called up, and then for like a 2 or 3 year period, all these guys came up and were raking, and then you look at this year and last year, that's not happening. Like Kyle Lewis,
what the
Dylan Carlson,
the big two problems with Francisco Alvarez, right?
he's catchers on the Mets.
He's catcher and he's on the Mets. Sell immediately.
Apparently, he can hit. Someone better than Volpe to us, but that was Will. Will's here to better than Volpe. But yeah, so so when we were in such a when we were in not such a bullish market, like now the move was to sell these guys before they got called up. That's a good move. And if you look at all these young guys, none of them, I mean, like I named them Dylan Carlson. I mean, Bo Bichette, he's great. He's down. I would sell. If you had an orange or better, I think there's a big percentage of like how much you can make. It's also a much bigger risk, but
I mean, Bill, Will, a couple of years ago, the Mets had Darno and Kevin Plawecki, both top 25 catchers. Like, let's see how that went, right? The Mets do have bad luck with catchers, except for when they trade for them.
Darno's not bad. He's just on the
Braves.
Yeah, but he wasn't good on the Mets.
I remember that during a Mets game, they said, if Darno's hitting well, the Mets are winning. And I just can't get that quote out of my mind. If players well, they win. Armunos, how many Bowman Megabox first refractors do you see in the July special? That's a great question, but we have a team that processes all the orders, so we don't really look through all of them. It's something we could maybe run a report on, but it's not something we're going to know offhand.
All right, well, FTM, all right? No one wants to talk about the Mets anymore.
Gary Carter also traded for not drafted, just to be clear. Another question. Regarding your consignment services, would I pay your percentage per sale plus eBay's or just yours?
It's all in one. That includes eBay fees.
Yeah, so whatever the number is, if your card sells for $100 and it's an 88% payout, you get $88.
80, yeah, correct.
Will, if you have any questions, they go in the little question box in the bottom.
We're never taking Mets calls.
Waterjack, with a huge increase in grading older modern cards, are we going to get to the point soon where there won't be any more grade-worthy cards? Thinking LeBron era to 2017.
I don't know, just older, modern next to each other. I couldn't get past that.
So, do you mean are the raw cards just going to be disappearing where there won't be any raw cards that you could buy to grade, or there's going to be so many graded the value won't make it worth grading? It's two different questions, so I don't know what you're really asking. I think there will always be cards out there that will be in grade-worthy condition that people that don't know about grading will have, just because the internet is one place and eBay is one place. Like, it's just the community is really small, even though people think that the Instagram, Facebook blowout, they think that community is a huge portion of it, and it's just not, right?
They're market movers, but there might not be. I mean, there's people that will, like it's going to be harder to find them.
Yeah,
because right,
harder to find them.
It's finite. The whole point of the market is it's finite. There's a certain number. You can't produce more once they're done. But there's people that are, say you had a LeBron Topps Chrome Refractor, you didn't want to put it in the mail. That happens a lot. Or you don't trust the grading companies. There's all this stuff.
The other thing about finding it harder to find cards, or it being harder to find cards, one thing we always recommend is when you're buying cards, especially on eBay or at a show, note who you bought them from when they're raw, and note the condition that you got them in, so the people that you could buy from in the future, that you have a chance to buy gradable cards instead of just throwing blind, right? So note who you can get cards from, and then always go back to the same people. Build that relationship.
Because there's a lot of people say, "Oh, the card's clean," then it gets a 6 because there's something on the back they didn't tell you about. Because like anyone will say anything to you to sell you something in life.
Paul Smith, honest thoughts on Judge values right now, sell or still a buy? I mean, I'm a sell on Judge. I know that Zach is probably the opposite.
I mean, he has a chance to hit over 61 home runs this year. There's definitely some room still. I would stick to good stuff, nice vet autos, on-card stuff.
What about
I think he's underpriced relative to his production still.
what about
And
long term? Do you think long term being in the next after 5 years from now? Do you think his prices will be higher or lower than they are today? My question.
it's a tough call because, I mean, I watch him play all the time.
Right.
I think he has the potential to be a Hall of Famer more than your Ryan Howard comp. But Ryan Howard had a pretty good career.
Ryan Howard
So,
short, right? He came up late.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, this year Judge is healthy. 2017, Judge was healthy. The years in between, he was really good. 30 home runs, 35, 27, good numbers, but he got hurt.
Yep.
So at age 30, is he 30 or I think he's 30? He needs to have, if he has 3 more years, like, doesn't have to be this year, but say 45 home runs, he's probably a Hall of Fame level player.
But also,
But
also at this age, one more bad injury could be the end of him.
it's a big 3 years from now, I would say it's such a loaded question because it's tough to do with the market and stuff. You know, is the market up?
Of course.
I would say the rare Judge stuff, if he is this good, will be worth more. But likely, you're better off having it and selling by February, March next year if you want to make money.
I agree with that.
But I think there is still a lot of runway. But I think even if he breaks the records now, the better time to sell is 6 months later. Be right before the season.
Waterjack has some good questions. Is Josh Allen getting a little overvalued before the season? Also, what's up with the Tua hype? His prices could really crash the season if he doesn't perform well. You want to go first or second?
I thought that was good insight on Judge.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of it. Sell Judge before February.
But I think there's still room to make money on him. And I wouldn't, like, I also don't think you're going to lose a lot. Anyway, Judge is more interesting than this. Sorry, Jack.
I'll go first.
Yeah, you got it.
So, Josh Allen, I don't think he's overvalued. To me, it's two different people when it comes to what we expect, right? Josh Allen has all the expectations in the world to be the number 1 fantasy quarterback and win the division and be the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Tua basically is a no risk. He was not very good last year. He was good when he came back. He was the most accurate quarterback. If I hear that one more time, I'm gonna go jump off a bridge. But they're not expected to win, and they have a good team. So there's actually a lot of upside with Tua in my mind because of that. That's why I'm buying him. And if you look at Golden, PWCC, or any of the other auctions right now, you're going to see Josh Allen, you're going to see Herbert, you're going to see Burrow, you're going to see every other new quarterback. Look at all those Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, all those cards. People are getting rid of them. You know who you don't see? You don't see Jalen Hurts, and you don't see Tua. You even see Daniel Jones.
That was just to make me happy. Will, I saw your question, GFY, it says family friendly. We're not talking about, if Judge doesn't resign the Yankees, yeah, he'll be worth less except for his really high end. It won't necessarily matter, but all the Yankee fans will be pissed. Okay. Actually, it's like his base, like the $250, $300 vet autos no one's going to want. His really high end will still be investors. That's the actual answer to that. Josh, I actually have the exact opposite take to Josh on this one. I think Josh Allen, for some reason, is the only guy that keeps going up in a market where other guys have been going down. Or I guess everyone's a little hot right now, but Josh Allen has steadily risen. I think it is a little overvalued. I think everyone thinks they're the best team and everyone thinks he's the best quarterback right now. So I think that generally means everyone's going to lose. That's my take. We have really nice Josh Allens. I have 2 nice Josh Allens.
You said we said the opposite thing, but we said the same thing.
You didn't say he was overvalued.
I think that he has too much behind him, so he has a lot of risk, while Tua doesn't have a lot of risk.
Well, you didn't say. I actually do believe he is overvalued right now. I have a ton of assets in him. Rightfully so, though, is how I'd answer it. I think he deserves to be overvalued, but it's hard for me to see a guy comes off a loss, and that's what sets everyone up to be really happy, a devastating loss, because
that could have been the best loss ever.
but it's still a loss. And I mean, they got Von Miller, so I think that's a big add. But they lost Stable. They lost the guy Shane. That shouldn't matter for a couple of years. The guy the Giants got. I just think, I think what Josh did, a lot of risk. As far as Tua goes, I think he's a horrible buy. I disagree with Josh. I think if the numbers backed up what Josh was saying, I think he's a good buy. But if you're paying, whatever number it is for these huge risks, like an FOTL BGS 9 was like, what, 60 grand? That's horrible.
That's not a good price, right? That was a terrible price. For 15 or 20 grand for the right price, because that's what it's worth.
It's still a lot.
Selling it, right?
I would say the
thing with Tua is you could buy a nice Tua RPA for the same or cheaper than Mac Jones, Trey Lance, and every other one of the new quarterbacks. Zach Wilson. I think the only one that's under him is Davis Mills. So, like, I'm buying Tua because he proved he can at least complete passes in the NFL and win games.
Yeah, I don't hate Tua. I still haven't seen the downfield throws, so you're paying for way too much future production, which is, I mean, the guys like San Francisco, the coordinator, McDonald, Mike, whatever his name is, and he's really good at utilizing short passing game, but I just think the deck's stacked against. I want to see him throw that. I want him to succeed. I like him. But I'm like, to get a real nice Tua, like one where you could really make a lot of money, you're looking 15 grand, 30 grand. That to me doesn't seem like a flyer type of number guy. I bought a Baker Mayfield, and I'm not this, like I said, I had a nice Josh Allen. I bought a Baker Mayfield to 5 and T-Gem for 15 grand. Tua, that'd be like $60,000. And who is more likely to be good? I mean, Baker's been good in the NFL. I don't think it was a good buy. I'm not tooting my horn. I'm just saying the Tua, I see it more likely that's going to fail than win. And just if I could buy Tua at like an affordable price, I would definitely buy him. I like the gamble. But at these super high numbers, I think it's scary. Like, I think I see that.
I'm just comparing it to the other quarterbacks, right? For the same price as the other new quarterbacks, he's proven more, and I like that more. All right, next question.
I'd probably be wrong. I liked him at one point. I would say look at the first 6 game schedule if you want to ask those questions.
There. From our boy Vadim, who do you think the biggest surprise team in football will be this year? Dolphins.
I mean, like a team like the Chargers doesn't count, right?
No, they're good.
They were close last year. I think even like the 49ers don't count. They're good.
I would take somebody in the NFC. Right? Like
I mean, the Lions is not a bad choice. Can you hear Eli in the other room still?
No. A little bit.
I mean, I like the Jags.
You like Trevor Lawrence. So, yeah, to me, like, you're paying half the price for Tua compared to Trevor Lawrence. I'm buying Tua just to stay on that level.
I like Trevor Lawrence more. I mean, you can't have a worse coach, right? Here's the thing. You can't have a worse coach. You can't have, like, worse receivers. And they overpaid for guys, but they're decent. The defense should be better. They drafted the best linebacker, and then they drafted the guy first who they should have drafted, who I didn't want the Giants to take 5. But, like, I mean, Doug Peterson's actually not a bad coach. He won a Super Bowl. The offenses do pretty well. I just think, like, right, your surprise seems like a big jump. Let's think of, like, Trevor Lawrence is too sexy of a pick, though, too. What about a surprise the other way?
What team do you think is going to be bad?
I guess, like, taking the Patriots to be bad is not a big surprise.
No, it would be like the Bills being bad. Cowboys, but they're always bad.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Next question is, Justin Jefferson is Justin Jefferson a better buy than Jamar Chase at current prices? I'm out on Justin Jefferson just because I don't like their quarterback. Their quarterback
hasn't affected his numbers so far.
In my fantasy drafts, I'm taking whoever their tight end is. I don't even know who it is, and I'm taking Thielen over Justin Jefferson value-wise. If they're value-wise, I'm taking Thielen.
I think my biggest surprise team is a good team. I think the Packers win this year.
Must be a year. Must be a
I,
year.
I pick him every year, though. That's just all I'm going to say. But I don't think they're. I think losing at. I don't think they're worse. I think they're actually going to be better.
Will has a question on what we were just talking about, I think.
I don't know the difference in value between.
Do you think Kirk is a little undervalued right now? I'll hang up and listen. No, Kirk
No.
is terrible.
No. Like, Will's a closet Vikings fan.
Oh, good for him.
Kirk Cousins is always a great fantasy. This is the year he's done. Kellen Mond threw a touchdown in preseason. It's on. Kirk Cousins is gone. Go Kellen Mond.
Alex picks up. Any thoughts on the young Knicks players? I'm a big RJ Barrett fan.
Does he count?
He's a young Knicks player, right?
He's pretty young. Going into year
I mean, are we talking
4, right? He's almost going into year 4, but he's probably 23.
Probably young. He's probably, maybe 23. Maybe.
I think, like, Barrett, this is not a knock. It's not saying he's not good. He works hard. I think if he's, like, your third best player, that's a championship team. I think he's good enough to be, I think he's really good. If he's your second best, you need a really good one. If he's your top, he's good, but
he dominated a couple of games last year. He really took games. If you they put up they supposedly put a good point guard with him, right? Like him and Brunson should be good together.
Him, Brunson, and Mitchell would be a fun offense. They'd score a lot of points. Yeah, I love RJ. He's probably my favorite Nick. The guys like Grimes, Sims, I don't know any of them. I think I like Mitchell Robinson a lot, but
I know.
I like him a lot. I just need to see him stay on the court and play more minutes. I feel like he's a really good player that isn't utilized in today's game because he can't shoot. But like if he played 35 minutes a game, I feel like he'd be like 14 points, 14 boards, 3 blocks. But
Robinson's like a first 3-round type of fantasy player, but terrible for the NBA today.
Luckily, Josh Cohen is a good one to carry Poland as it too. Yeah, I'm the higher number, so I like it.
Joel asks, Hurts or Tua better season?
Tua. I'm on Tua.
Tua, no question. Hurts won't be the starter.
I don't know.
Week 4.
Yeah, I don't know who's going to end up having a better season, but Hurts can't throw. Tua doesn't throw down. Like, Tua can throw, he just doesn't. Hurts can't. So I don't like quarterbacks can't throw.
Well, this year, right? We'll see. Get some speed out there. Argue cards. Who's your sleeper in fantasy football this year? Non-quarterback.
I haven't done any drafts yet. Like a guy like Javonte Williams isn't a sleeper. He's probably like a second-round pick this year.
He's like ranked number 17 overall.
Like Melvin Gordon's probably a good sleeper because he's still going to get points.
Tony Pollard's not a sleeper. None of those guys are, right? A.J. Dillon's not a sleeper, right?
What's the wide receiver? Yeah, that's not good either.
My boy White might be a sleeper.
Romeo Dobbs, the second receiver that the Packers took, who looks better, but like everyone knows who he is already.
Rashad White in Tampa might be a sleeper.
You know what? I got a sleeper.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney, New York Giants.
Oh Lord. Darby.
Stays on the field. Like
I'm just gonna name Sun Devils. That's all I'm gonna do. Is I'm gonna always name Sun Devils. Does PSA give reasons why sometimes you guys get preferential pricing and sometimes not? I don't really understand the question. The only time we don't get discounts on Express or Higher, which we will say today. We actually on Friday we're gonna give everybody the rest of the week to get it if they need to. On Friday we're gonna raise the price on Express to $165 a card because we don't get a preferential price on it. So we just have to raise the price on it. So that's that. And they have certain levels they want to give discounts on and certain levels they don't. And that's really it.
what up? I think RJ Barrett cards are undervalued. Back to the value of Knicks cards, by the way.
I think waiting for PSA versus SGC is biggest debate, in my opinion, time versus value. So
Is there a question with that, or is that just a statement to see if we agree, Joel?
Like Joel, I said in the beginning, like if you have comments, just put them in the chat. Don't put them in the questions unless there's actually a question behind it because it makes it hard for us to actually get to it. What's up, Unger? So, yeah, you could debate is it worth getting cards graded faster by a company like SGC where the resale value isn't close to the same as with waiting a little bit longer for PSA? But add in on that SGC side, you have to get it right every single time, and PSA only have to get it right once.
I think you really answered the question with your comment. I think if the timing is a thing and you think it's going to be a high pop, then maybe if you can get it together quick, send to SGC, quick flip, makes sense. If you are very confident that you got a lot of 10s in your PSA, well, you want to be 10s either way, but know what you're doing in PSA, and you know this stuff is still going to be valuable in 3 months, not drop off, go to PSA. That's the answer to the question, in my opinion. If it's stuff like you have a bunch of baseball rookies you want to sell before next season, I would send the PSA now. Probably if it was football rookies you wanted to grade and sell before the season, I probably would have sent them to SGC 2 weeks ago. And then you figure that there's a difference in how much you can make, but with that extra money, you could then buy stuff and churn it more with SGC. But if it's PSA, say it's Joe Burrow rookies, you know Joe Burrow's not going to be down. PSA makes sense.
It's also if they were football rookies that you want to get graded, you should have sent it to PSA 2 months ago, right?
Well, that's what I was saying basically. But if it's guys like that, you're not sure. Say it's Tua, like we were talking about, or Jalen Hurts, like lower end rookies. I would have sent him in a couple weeks ago to SGC just to get him out before the season goes. Play the flip game the true way. All right, sorry.
RM Grav, a Cade True Blue Prism of 189. Am I better sending that to PSA Direct, or do you all have a service level for it? If it's over the Express level, we don't really have a level for it. We could work it out with you if you want us to, but you're going to pay more to get the same exact service as if you were sending it directly to PSA. So if you're willing to do that and you'd rather go through us, we could do it for you, but that's probably not going to make sense for you.
If you say you wanted to grade it and then sell it, it makes sense to do it through us.
Sure.
But then you wouldn't have to put any money out of your pocket. We'd probably get it up before anyone else graded, and it would sell quick, and you'd get all the eyes. That's where that really makes a lot of sense, and where the extra $15 still would make you a lot more money, in my opinion.
You're also going to save it. You're also going to say, well, for that, it's probably even more than that, right? That's probably a Super Express kind of card, a Cade True Blue of 199. It's probably.
I think it's probably $2,500 or less.
It's over $2,500, probably over $5,000. If it's PSA 10.
Really? Even though maybe. I think you do it at that level though.
Yeah.
Raw.
But then if you get upcharged, you get upcharged, right? And
I think Jason Tatum's like $5,000. Crazy. Anyway.
Waterjack, another great question. I know the hobby preferences for pro uniform cards. What about college uniform versus unlicensed if card values are the same? Honestly, I collect a lot of college uniform stuff, but only ASU. There are collectors for it. I'd rather somebody in a college uniform, if it's the college that I collect, versus an unlicensed card of somebody that I want to buy, I think.
So I'm going to answer two things at one. I'm going to continue with the Cade, but I would prefer the college over unlicensed any day of the week. At least it has something on it.
Right.
I would never prefer unlicensed. I don't own a single card in my collection that's unlicensed, I don't think. But like if it's a cool like Michigan, like Charles Woodson card, I would like it.
What about a character 1 of 1?
I would love it. Unlicensed, I don't like. The only thing about the unlicensed is I would buy it if it was really cheap. But like, I don't have a single unlicensed card in my collection. I have a pretty big collection. On the Cade Blue, the other benefit of using us, well, it would be a little more expensive. But if you want to make sure it was handled correctly and done right, that's if it's worth the peace of mind to you.
Unger asked which one of us is a better PC, and the answer is Zach.
Josh.
Oh, God.
Uh-oh.
Will. Are Mets cards selling better than Yankee cards these days? I'd assume yes, because the Mets are a better team, but I'd love to hear your perspective. Thank you, Josh and Zach. Troll question 101. Will, why don't we go to...
Well, we already said we're not taking Mets calls.
Will, we'll go to brunch and discuss. You pick the place.
I mean, Judge sells more than any current Met, right?
Alonso? Yeah.
PC card.
Joel asked, should I be worried my PSA cards dropped off the national aren't checked in yet? I don't think so. I would assume they're all checked in. Or did you drop them off through us or send them by yourself? So
Josh has the same card though.
Or two.
I said that. Brady champ.
Heard prices to set up at the National and pay for things was outrageous. Is going there a moneymaker for you guys, or more to build awareness for your company? Great question. The prices to set up at the National are outrageous when you're paying somebody 10 times what it costs because they took too much space and are renting it out to you. Right? The costs for a booth are not expensive.
You won't, Matt.
Right?
But yeah.
Right? The cost at a booth is just not expensive at all. The overall cost for the show ends up being expensive with food and lodging and lights and all that crap. It ends up expensive. It wasn't cheap because it was Atlantic City.
It's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not that cheap. I mean, if you go set up, you spend a couple grand for the weekend. And if you're not doing this to really make money and you're not making a lot of money, like it's a lot. Our expenses are pretty high because we bring a whole team.
So Zach, people are paying more for like room for 2 showcases than we paid for both of our booths together.
Well, I'm saying so. If someone, but if someone had one booth and the hotel and it cost them like $3,000 or something face for the weekend, if they did it right, probably more if they stayed at a casino. But that's still a lot of money. It's not $20,000.
I guess I'm talking in the grand scheme of our business. It's not expensive.
Well, for us, it is expensive, but it's more because we have all the team. We take people out to dinner. It's more like you were asking. It's more about brand awareness than a moneymaker is the point. Jack's second off, that is really why we're there. We want to meet our customers in person. We want people to feel good that they could drop stuff off, and we're not really there at this point to make money flipping the cards that much at all. And we also wanted, like this year, we wanted to like sell people's cards in person. So we started doing that and offered that as a service. So yeah, definitely more about brand awareness, and it's kind of just the cost of doing business for us at this point versus, hey, we're going to spend $10,000 and we're going to make 50 there. That's not
right. We don't look at it. We look at it as an opportunity to meet our customers and acquire new customers by being there,
and maybe pick up right. We're going to more try to.
We picked up a couple nice cards for ourselves this year, right?
Yeah.
We got the Tatum, we got the Cade, we got some nice pieces that.
It's a fun place to trade. That's what, and we get a couple nice cards, and maybe we flip a few deals, all that kind of stuff.
Thanks, Matt. More questions.
You're both so cute. I agree.
That's the nicest thing you said to me all day. Are you worried about the market? Almost all cards from last year are down. Play it again cards. The market's been going this way for the last 6 to 8 months, so this isn't new news. The fact of the matter is we're still able to buy cards and flip them to make money because we know what we should be buying.
Who's Exquisite Sports Collectibles?
I think it's Jameson.
It is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't wait for you to take us out to dinner as well. Sorry. They're not all down.
I'm really actually not worried about the market. I think that last year we saw the same thing in the summer. The market came back. We're seeing quarterbacks going up right now. In a month, we'll start seeing all the young superstars in the NBA going up again. Like we're going through the same trends that we always go through. It's just people that came into the hobby in 2020 when the shutdown started think that every single day you buy a card, the next day it's worth more. You buy a card, the next day it's worth more, no matter what. And that's just not how the market works. So I think we're seeing educated buyers and people in the hobby that have been in for a long time having no problem with where the market is now, and people that weren't in it that have this unrealistic expectation of what's going to happen are sort of the ones that are bugging out.
Yeah, I mean, no one that has sustained business success in any business is, hey, I bought something and flipped it the next day. That's not how businesses work. It takes patience and timing. But is also like, if you looked last year, almost all cards are down. I mean, the winners are still up a lot. Like, I mean, Joe Burrow and TRPA gems were $30,000. They're 100 now. Herbert's were 40. They're now 150. Yeah, good ones. Brady stuff is higher than it was this time last year, although it's been down from a peak from May. Baseball, certain guys are up. Judge is worth more, for example. Alonso. I mean, a lot of the guys you name will be good. And the market's starting to level out. So a couple months ago, stuff was still going down, but the stuff hasn't continued to go down. It's around those same prices, and some stuff's starting to jump. And that's how a market works. Now there's all these different sources where these rare cards are readily available, so they're not rare anymore. So, again, stuff still goes up. And if you pick the winners, which is what you should have to do, not just pick anything, you can still make money or buy in the offseason. Like, it's pretty...
There's also a lot of opportunity right now if you know what you're looking for to buy. And, guys...
Just don't buy what I'm buying is investments.
And, guys, we go over a lot of these details also and dive into different cards that are coming back on our YouTube channel. I'm going to post a link to today's video on there. So if you want to subscribe there, we post a lot of information about cards that are going up, down, what we think of the market. We have a lot of this conversation over on YouTube, a lot. So that's something you should probably look into if you want to get more honest and more concrete information and data behind the answers. We share all of that with you. So I think that right now you need to buy the best players and the best card you could afford of those players, and you'll be doing okay.
Jameson, I like a number 4 and a number 6 biggie size. I want both.
Buying overpriced crap and buying overpriced base crap is just not gonna be a sustainable model.
Yeah, and that stuff isn't good investments. You know, like mosaic cards, recon. You know, whatever. Like you buy those to either if you only buy that stuff to grade right away and flip. Yeah, I mean that's the point of it.
And if you're buying those recon or those, if you buy mosaic numbered stuff of young quarterbacks to grade and flip, it's a relatively easy grade, and it's a big profit margin when you flip it, when you sell it. And we have data to prove it. It's easy to do.
Yeah, but you're not like, yeah, and if you buy shitty retail products, they're not going to maintain long-term micro, because who cares? Who have you seen that said, oh, I need that rookie debut Joe Burrow? No one thinks that.
Green reactive.
Yeah, the only people who say like how that's good are the people who just hit it because they want to sell it.
Right. Do you think true NTRPAs of wide receivers and running backs will ever be relevant price-wise? First of all, I think they are relevant price-wise right now.
Jameson is a great question, but we'll answer that next. He didn't do it the right way, but we'll answer it next.
So I think that some of them are already really expensive, right? And there's not a lot of upside with some of those guys. Even defensive guys like Micah Parsons, his RPAs are expensive for what they are.
I don't think they'll ever be.
They're not going to be quarterback expensive, but there are 5-figure cards out there. Not true 99.
Yeah. No, I think relevant price, what that means, I think what you will see is if you invest in that high-level wide receiver versus the gamble quarterbacks overall, you should do better year over year because those guys are a little more predictable. And the likelihood that Jamar Chase is –
You think the receivers are more predictable?
Well, like say you bought Jamar Chase.
Sure.
Like, I think you're more likely to make money long-term on him than Zach Wilson.
I guess at least with the RPAs of the receivers, you're getting them after their first season.
Yes, you kind of know. I mean, those cards – I mean, running backs, the problem is longevity.
Look at a guy like N'Keal Harry, first-round pick, was supposed to be good, got hurt. Like, at least you didn't spend money before he came up like some of the young baseball players. Like using.
Yeah, no one would have – after his first year in New England, you're like –
right?
Yeah. They'll never be as high as quarterbacks. I don't see how that could change. And that's not just because of cards. It's because of the league. You know, like, that's who's – everything's about the quarterback. That's how it's paid. Receivers are the second highest paid, so maybe they'll go up a little bit. There was the Jamar Chase versus Justin Jefferson question. I would probably buy Chase because he's more likely to be relevant on like a playoff contending team. That's the only reason. But I think Jefferson is just as good, and he probably is half the price. So
I think we see a big Jefferson regression this year, sort of like we saw Ayuk last year. Which I remember, I said I wanted Debo in every single one of my leagues. That didn't take him in one. But
you've got Ayuk, so that was good of you.
I didn't get Ayuk in any league either.
Yeah. So Jameson's question was very interesting. Would you rather have Giannis or Luka at current prices? And to me, I like both, but to me, it's a no-brainer. I go 100% Giannis because they're selling close to the same amount on comparable cards, but Giannis has way fewer options as a rookie. And, like, you tell me if Chris Middleton's hurt this year, he doesn't win? I'm pretty sure they win. But that's me. I think he's still the best player year over year. I think it's pretty clear right now he's the best player in the league. And
I'm gonna have a different answer to the question.
Go for it.
I'm gonna say I'm buying, which I am buying, Trae Young at 20%.
Well, the question is, would you rather buy Luka or Giannis? They're basically around the same. Giannis is
I'd rather buy 5 Trae Youngs.
So, like, I bought like a Giannis BGS 9 NT, the last two nice 3-color patches went 150 to 170 range, basically.
Yeah.
A nice Luka NT would be like 120-ish, and a 9 on the Giannis is pretty tough, and a 3-color. I'd rather have the Giannis there.
Yeah, and I'd rather have 4 or 5 trays. I'd rather be in the lower ones that I can move. Also, if there's 17 BGS 9.5 trays and I own 8 of them, I'm in a good spot.
We have enough trays. And so do you. So I'm going Giannis, Jameson. Joel disagrees via the question thing, not the comment. Joel, I got you.
A Shohei Ohtani player in the NFL, quarterback that plays outside linebacker as well. No.
At the high school level.
Yeah.
Hey, I agree.
How deep do you guys want to get in the vintage game? We just sold our Mantle 1.5. So, I mean, I'm down for vintage autos.
Yeah, we like vintage stuff. Yeah, Jameson. I'm pissed I didn't win both BGS 9s that went at Golden. I did win one of them. I will say that. I think the Giannis's are too cheap. I even think the orange prisms were so much more expensive, but then Alt bought like 15 of them and ran them. So I think if someone picked a lot of those up and doesn't let Alt run them again, those are going to go up a lot because they're very low pop.
Ultra modern basketball had the biggest peak. Do you think it's overcorrected? Yes. I think ultra modern basketball has definitely overcorrected.
When you say overcorrected,
when it's too low.
You think it? Yeah, I figured that's what you meant, but I just wanted to be clear to people. So it went down further than we think it should be. Yeah. I mean, not centered. It wasn't centered.
It wasn't centered.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to see even like the base prisms creep up now, which we all have said a million times. There's a million of all of them. Like you're seeing the Giannis's get back to 1,300. They were down to 1,000. The Lukas are creeping up to 350. The Zions are getting to 220. They were down to like 180, 200. So, yeah, I think like basically last year, which is crazy, Lukas just steadily went down. Part of it was ran all the color prisms. That was part of it. But they steadily went down, even though he was so dominant in the playoffs. They went farther than they've ever been. They just steadily crept down, and it wasn't correlating to performance. So it makes me believe that Lukas will go steadily up coming into the year.
Eddie, we really appreciate it. Yeah, we've come a long way since doing submissions on Blowout. That's for sure. Jameson can't afford NTRPAs. Funniest thing I heard all day.
Well, he is getting us he's getting me a Biggie size 4 and 6, so.
Hell yeah. True Bowman, I bought a Devonta Smith NT Gold RPA of 10 for $450. Goodbye. Low risk. Super low risk, right? Like,
does it have a nice patch? That's the question. If it's a good patch, I mean, you bought it for $450, so I'm assuming you checked what 99s and stuff go. So there's some upside there. Heisman winner. He was really good last year in the second half of the year. It sounds about right. That sounds like something you could probably sell for like $700. So yeah, I think so.
We have no more questions in the question queue. 45.
I would say 90s, 2000s, as far as older raw cards, like 1990 to 2010, if you could find those, there's still probably a lot of gems out there for the huge margin. Someone made a comment.
Yeah, if you could find nice inserts from those years of superstars, you have a lot of ability to make money. So, all right, well, I think this is another good Q&A. I don't really have anything else. No more questions in the queue. So we're going to call it right now, and we will see you guys next week. Matt, you could just text me whatever your questions are, and I'll ignore you. And that's really it. Thanks so much, guys.